Welcome to my channel. This is my first video. I filmed a tutorial on this look right here in case you didn't know from the title above. Be sure to like this video if you did like it and subscribe down below for more videos. I'm hoping to get more videos up like favorites and just a lot of other stuff, and you can just suggest some things down below in the comment section if you have any suggestions for me. I will probably most likely do them. But I hope you like this video. I would love some constructive criticism. But I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. For this tutorial, I will be using the Lorac Mega Pro Palette 2. And the first shade I will be using is called Tangerine. It's this gorgeous orangey transition shade I love using in my crease. And before I get any further, I do want to just let you guys know I do have hooded eyes. The top part of my eye is a little bit hooded and it hangs over my lid a little bit. So I love bringing my shades a little bit higher just to make sure everything is seen and all the work that I do on my lid is actually seen. The first brush that I'm using right here for my transition shade is a Sedona Lace EB13. It's just a fluffy blending brush. Have fallen in love with this brush. It has gotten me pretty far with my blending game. The next shade I'm using is just a brown color in this palette, and it's called Saddle. And I will be using a Royal and Langnickel Revolution BX18 brush. It's just a flat blending brush. It's more precise, so I like putting that in the outer V of my eye, and then little swiping motions. I will bring that to about half the outer half of my eye, just blending it to my desired pigmentation, making sure it's blending enough for me. I spend a little bit of time right here just to make sure I like this shade because this part's pretty important to me. And I do not bring it as high as that orange shade, as you might notice. I'm not bringing it all the way up. I am staying right underneath my crease. I will just bring it up a little bit in my crease and swipe it a little bit across the crease very, very slightly, just to make sure once I put that inner shade in, it will blend. But I am not bringing it as high as I did with that transition shade. I feel like the orange transition shade really just makes this eye look pop. This next shade I'm using is called Peony. It's just a pinkish orange shimmery shade that I'll be using in the inner half of my eye. And I will be using the Sedona Lace EB11. This is just a synthetic flat brush that's great for packing on shades, especially shimmery shades, glitters, anything like that. This is a great brush for that. So I'll be using that in the inner half and just swiping it to make sure it's blended. And I will be going over that brown color a little bit just to make sure that right there it's very blended, so I don't have any harsh lines right there. But later on you will see that I will go back over that brown to make sure that it's blended. As you can see right here, that's what I'm doing right here, is just making sure that brown is, you can still see it and it's pigmented and it's blended in with that shimmery shade. I don't want any harsh lines, so I will spend a little bit of time making sure it's blended. And then just using a fan brush, this one is the Sedona Lace FB01, just make sure any excess that might have fallen underneath my eye is swept away. And also right here, I am using a Morphe E18 to apply that transition shade Tangerine, and just brushing that along the lash line, and then going in with the Morphe M432 brush just to blend in that brown along the tight line of my lower lash line. I love these two brushes for the lower lash line. Have really stepped up my game when it came to my lower lash line, and used to never do my lower lash line because I didn't know how and I didn't have any really good brushes. And then Jaclyn Hill, another YouTuber on here, Google her. She is great YouTuber, do everything. She's pretty great. She suggested these two brushes. And right here, I'm just showing you this awesome, amazing mascara that I love. And you can see this is just one eye on the left that doesn't have any mascara, and on the right, I have the mascara on. And I will be using the L'Oreal Revitalift Miracle Blur Instant Skin Smoothing. It's oil-free, which is great for me since I have acne. And I will just be putting that over any of my problem areas with pores, which is like beside my nose, on my forehead. I have pretty bad pores, especially some scarring left over from my acne, especially on my chin. I have some texture issues going on with my chin right now. And this is the Nivea Men Post Shave Balm, and I will be blending this in. If you don't know this as a primer, seriously, just YouTube it. It went crazy a little while ago as a primer, and it's one of the best primers I've actually tried. And then with a bareMinerals Max Coverage Concealer brush, I will be using this NYX Dark Circle Corrector to cover up my acne. I love, love, love this trick, especially this Dark Circle Corrector. It's the best concealer I've came across for covering up my acne. Of course, it does cover up the redness. It's hard to cover up texture. It's most likely impossible to cover up texture with my acne, but it definitely covers up all of the redness. As you can see, I really, really love this trick. Just before going in with my foundation, I will be also using this right underneath my eyes, just where I have darkness and puffiness underneath my eyes, just to get rid of some of the darkness before I go in with my foundation and my concealer. Great trick. I love this. And this brush is really great for this too, because it just packs it on with the perfect amount. And then just using a beauty blender, I would just make sure that shade is, that concealer is blended out, just so my foundation I will use before this, well, after this, goes on pretty well. I'm just using e.l.f. brush right there just to blend out that concealer underneath. And right here, I'll be using the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer, and I am in the shade 1, Linen. I am that fair. I am the lightest shade. And it has this awesome doe foot applicator. It's pretty big. It might not be the most sanitary, but it makes my life a lot easier. And I know I use a lot. I know. But me having acne, I want to just pile on makeup. And I'm also using a Morphe M444. This is a very, very dense foundation brush. It just gives you this flawless, full coverage look with any foundation. I love this brush. Most people don't really need this brush because it's so dense and it gives such a high coverage. But me, with my acne, I love this brush, and it's completely changed my life with foundation. And then I will be going over with a beauty blender just to make sure, pick up any excess foundation so it doesn't look cakey throughout the day. Blending it, make sure everything's blended. And it is damp, so I use a damp beauty blender, because if you use it dry, it's not going to do anything. Because when I first got the beauty blender, I used it dry and I did not see what the huge rave about it was until I put it under water. Squeezed it out a few times and it made a huge difference. And it also, with me having a little bit of dry skin, it just gives me, it feels like some extra hydration is going into my skin. Probably just me, but that's what I feel. And I'm listening to music right here, so if I'm dancing, that's why. Then I will go in with the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Concealer, and I am using the shade 10 Ivory. I'll be using kind of like a triangle motion underneath my, on my lid. my bags. Just kind of conceal those bags. I'll put it on the forehead, down the nose, Cupid's bow, and on the chin. Just to make the center of my face kind of highlighted. Then using the beauty blender to just blend out everything. Right here, I'm using a Real Techniques brush. I don't know what it's called though, because I've used this so much I've rubbed off the name. But I use this just especially on the inner corner to make sure that's blended out, and then I'll go back in with the beauty blender just to make sure it's blended. Just because I feel like I can't really get into that really tight corner of my lid. And then I will be using the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I will be using the middle shade called Lyric, just to set my underneath my eye. And then I will be going in with Lyric and Lucid to set like my forehead, down my nose, and right there, just because this middle shade is just a little bit yellow. So I love using that to set underneath my eye, and then I will mix the two shades to set everything else. I love this palette. If you do not have this palette, seriously, it's so highly recommended. It has so many shades. It's a great palette. I feel like it just looks so flawless. Like underneath my eye, it looks so flawless. And it sets my concealer just enough so I don't have any creasing throughout the day. And I will also be using the bareMinerals Matte Foundation in medium beige. And this is an e.l.f. brush. Powder brush I'm just using to sweep that powder over my face, over my foundation, just to make sure it's set so it'll stay throughout the day. And as you might be able to notice, I'm kind of avoiding the center of my face, like in the top of my forehead and just stuff like that, just so it's still highlighted. It's lighter than the rest of my face, just so it gives me a little bit more dimension, as you can tell. Back to the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, I am using this middle shade called Shadow Play. And I'm just going to do a little bit of contouring using this e.l.f. brush. This is the angled blush brush. Taking that right underneath my cheekbone, and I know that on my cheeks right now it's not blended. I'm aware of that, so I will go back and blend it. But after I do just a little bit of contouring on my forehead, and I don't like doing a lot of contouring on my forehead just because I have a small forehead, so I don't need that much contour, but just I like doing it just to bronze it up just a little bit to make my face look even. And the duck face, of course. Look at that duck face. That was great. Then I'll be using the same brush that I used to set my underneath my eye, which is the Real Technique contour brush. And I will be using that first shade, I think it's Lucid, in the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, just to set right underneath my contour to make sure it's harsh. And I will be using the e.l.f. blush palette. These blushes are amazing. They are so pigmented and they blend out effortlessly. This is the light one. I don't know the shade of the specific blush, and I don't know this brush name either because I got it in like a little package and just, I have no idea. It didn't have any name on it. And as you can tell, I'm just putting it on the apple of my cheek and then brushing it back towards my temple. And of course, my favorite part, the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector and Champagne Pop. Look at this shade. This is the one Jaclyn Hill collaborated with Becca. If you don't know about it, seriously, just YouTube Jaclyn Hill. This really changed the game with highlighters. and I am using the Morphe M501, and I love this brush for highlighting. If you are looking for a good highlighting brush, this one is really good. And Morphe, of course, has very affordable prices with brushes, and they're really great quality. And as you can tell, I just do a little bit on the apples of my cheeks, just so when I smile, you can just get that little glimpse of highlight down my nose and on my cupid's bow, and even a little bit on my chin. I'll put this highlighter on just because I have the tiniest lips. My lips are so tiny, so I do anything to try to make my lips look a little bit bigger. And I will also be using the highlight with the Luxie 211 to put right underneath my brows and on the inner corner. Seriously though, if I could, I would smother my whole face with this highlighter. I love this highlighter. I use it every single day. Obviously you can tell since I hit pan. And then I will finally be using the NYX Retractable Lip Liner in Nude. I love this brownie nude shade. I just use, honestly, this lip pencil to line my lips and then fill it in, and then I go. Sometimes I'll put a gloss over it. Sometimes I'll use one of the soft matte NYX lip colors about this shade, maybe a little lighter to give me some dimension on my lips. But I'm obsessed with NYX lip products. I think they're really, really great. But I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the final look, as you can tell. At the end, I'll just kind of be like brushing up my hair, making sure I look okay before I go on with my day. And this is my go-to daytime eye look, makeup look, same thing. Alright, anyways, have a great day, guys.